All right, so welcome back to the channel. My name's Kevin,
I'm Tarsha.
and this is Conversations with the Crawleys. We have conversations about faith, family, relationships, and we do recaps, reviews, and commentary on some of our favorite shows. This one is all about Ready to Love, Miami edition. So if this is content that you enjoy, I don't even know why we gotta say it, but we do. Hit that subscribe, hit the like, request notifications,
And share.
and we'll see you in the comments. All right, so we pick up from the white party.
Right.
And there were three guys on the chopping block.
Mm-hmm.
Zoe, LJ, and Justice. And Justice, of course, had left the building. And so Tommy's like, listen, I'm going to get y'all to the end of the week, but one of y'all going home. We ain't doing this again. One of y'all three is going home. So.
Yeah, so the following day, I'm assuming he meets up with the guys. He's like, okay, I'm giving you this week, but I want to give you a strategy or for you to come up with your own strategy of why the ladies have you at the bottom three.
Right. Because LJ's like, okay, what's the deal? Right. And so Justice did apologize for leaving. Tommy's like, you left my party, bro. She's like, man, I'm sorry, I had to take care of business. So it was all good. Okay. For LJ, the feedback was that he's overly friendly, and that everybody thinks of him as the lovable island guy, which I guess that's a thing in Miami.
I guess. I mean, we've traveled to like Mexico, so I get what they're saying. The vibe is, just open and want to have a good time and fun. So I think he needs to hone in, as he's indicating, about getting deeper. Who is he as an individual and as a dad?
Absolutely. Justice says he will tone down his playfulness. Tommy says that's not really the issue. The issue is you got to be intentional. Do you got any numbers, bruh? Right. You had 10 ladies to choose from. Do you got any of their numbers?
Any digits? Nope. I ain't take nobody's digits. So who he playing with? All right, keep going.
Yeah,
and for Zoe.
For Zoe, it was that they think he's trying to hold things in and not expressing himself to the fullest, and that he needs to open up.
And he said that he's going to do his best, and he's going to start opening up.
Yeah. Justice like, well, I'm going to go ahead and go all in. I'm putting in the work. I'm going to do what I need to do to keep myself around a little longer.
Well, and if you heard him, he said specifically on that one person. He said something about a one person that he's really going to focus in on.
Yeah.
So
I have a feeling that that's Looney.
It's possible.
So we'll see. All right. So then there is a group date at the go-karts.
Correct.
So Kadian sets it up, and Charisse, LJ, Zoe, Justice, Trinika, and Jamala are all there, right? And Zoe starts off. He's like, "I got reprieve. I'm here.
I'm here. I'm about to put in this work. Show y'all ladies that I'm gonna express myself.
Yep, ladies, y'all take pole position because we're gonna beat y'all anyway. I'm gonna be on that tail. All right, cool.
Okay.
So he starts off competitive.
Which is like, you want to be a little playful.
Right.
He allowed them to go first. So we're thinking, okay, sounds good. This is going to be a good start. This is going to be a fun day.
But then he act like he is like AJ. I don't even know who the race car drivers are now. But he's acting like he's driving NASCAR and the Grand Prix all at once. Because he is like taking off and crashes into Trinika.
Who had...
she has wrist issue or
she broke her wrist or something, and she had to have surgery, I think she said.
So she's like, okay, and she's in the aside, she's like, it hurt for a little while, and so she's
like, I'm done.
She stopped. She's like, I'm good.
She's like, I can't risk it. It's in recovery.
And this is just a nice outing. It's a date. We ain't really competing for anything.
There's no money prize at the end of this race.
But Zoe is acting like he's gonna get he acting like he's gonna get some if he wins. That's not happening, bruh.
I don't know what happened. So everyone comes off the track, and he's still at 120.
Yeah.
And even Charisse is trying to like calm him down, like, all right, hello.
Well, no, it was Jamala though. I think it was Jamala that was trying to calm him down and play around. Charisse is like, oh, we barbecue him. Just
no. You're no, you gone too far,
Oh,
too
did I go
quick.
too far? Okay, my bad.
Yeah. When he first came out of the car, she was there. She was clapping.
Yeah.
She said, all right, let's calm it down.
That's true.
Let's calm it down.
Yes.
And he was like, I won. And then I think it was Trinika that came over, whoever who had the wrist, came over and said, okay, no, I really won. I've been waiting for y'all for 5 minutes. Right. But he's just like, I'm the king of the hill. You know.
Black NASCAR. Okay.
I was like, great. That's a thing in
Good
Florida.
for you, bruh. Awesome.
But you're not winning the points you're supposed to be winning with the ladies.
Nope.
That's what this is about.
Nope.
And the way you treated this.
You're not about to get no sponsorship. Sorry.
Well, winning didn't show them anything about him. No. So it's just kind of interesting how he was handling the go-karts.
Yes. So then.
Yes.
They're all like.
At a table
eating the refreshments, whatever.
Correct.
And he's still going on. And he's still got the little like headgear on.
Yes.
Like, dude, let it go.
Relax.
let it go.
I don't know if he was just really tense or maybe he was kind of upset for being in the bottom.
Just doing way too much.
So
way too much.
That's when him still being turned up, when Cherie, which I don't understand why she thought she was being quiet. Like, you need to barbecue him.
Yeah, there's nothing quiet about her.
You need to barbecue him. And he's kind of looking like, out of the corner of his eye, like, whatever. Right.
So, Trinika and Kadian, well, Kadian's like, I need to let's pull you aside. She wants to pull Justice aside, but she also brings Trinika as kind of like mediator, Zen police, whatever it might be. She wants her there as backup. So then they sit down and they start talking, right? And Justice is like, "Oh, so y'all was trying to get rid of me while I rolled out." And
she's like, "No." Trinika was like, "No."
And Katie was like, "I just think you're difficult. I just think you're kind of difficult there."
And he's like, "How am I difficult?" And I'm trying to understand the story. I had to do this part over twice.
We had to listen a couple of times because it was like,
because I was like, what happened?
So basically, what I took and what I got.
Yeah, you tell me
what I got.
What your perspective, what that story was.
Because I went back piece by piece. So basically, she's like, "I called you." He's like, "Wait, no." She was like, "I called you," and excuse me, he called her. She called him back. Right? Yeah, that's how confusing it was. He called her. She called him back. And he's like, "Did you?" She's like, "Yeah, I did." And he's like, "Well, I probably didn't save your number based upon our first conversation." Right? So basically, she had DM'd him at like 12:30 in the morning and was like, "If you're up, I want to talk." And it was the night of that she had sent Devin home. Because remember, she was the one that sent Devin home. He was like, basically, "I don't want to have our conversation, especially our first conversation, be about some other guy that you let go in this process. That's not anything I want to hear about or care about." She's like, "Well, I don't care. I'm trying to talk to you." He's like, "That's the problem. You don't care about what I'm trying to communicate." So on this point, as much as grief as we've given Justice, I can agree with that. I can agree that no man wants to, even part of this process, I don't think any guy wants to hear his conversation start off with some other guy, no matter what the context is. Does that match with what you heard?
Okay, so let me add a little more detail to that.
Yes, because I just give go ahead.
Okay, so the detail on that is when he gets the DM, she says, "Sir." He says, "You DM me, first of all, early in the morning," pretty much to say that. It's 12:30. You DMing me and you saying, "Sir." So he mentions that. It's like, how do you DM somebody if possibly you're interested in him? You don't say, "Sir." So he says that. Then he indicates when we have a conversation, you want to talk about somebody else on the first date. So, and she was like, "Okay, who cares about that?" He indicates he does make one more attempt to call.
Right.
She calls 2 days later. So he says, "Okay, I called you." And she was like, "Okay, I called you back." He says, 2 days later. So if you really are trying to talk to him,
Right.
why does it take 2 days for you to call him back?
True.
So those were the details that I got. Like, you're saying you're interested in me and you want me to call you, but then I do try to make another effort. Like, okay, I'm gonna give you another opportunity, and then it takes you 2 days to call me.
Now, I will say I don't know that. I think he's taking offense at the sir.
I think
I don't get that, just because
well
I know when I've messaged people
that you're interested in. Okay.
Well, I haven't messaged any.
Okay.
You're the only person I've been interested in for the past
Oh my
26
God.
years.
Okay, think you're single.
If I'm single,
Would you want someone to message you, sir?
I wouldn't be put off by it because it's
Okay. What would it mean to you if I liked you and I say,
but if that's our first interaction, I can't imagine being upset with someone saying, "Hey, sir, if you're up, can if you're up, can you reach back out to me?" Because I would probably be like, "Hey, lady, if you're available right now." Just that's how I would do it, as a term of respect or what have you. I wouldn't be like, "Hey, so and so, what have you." I could do that, or I could do sir or lady. To me, that's not a major issue.
When I talk to people, I'm very specific in what I call them to understand where they're positioned in my life. So if I'm saying I'm respecting you, if you have a title, I use it. If I'm trying to show respect, I'm going to use those titles. If I feel like we have some type of friendship and relationship, like for a dude, I make sure it's always sound respectful, like my brother, blah, blah, blah. It's indicating our boundaries. So for him to mention it, because I don't think men just mention small details like that, because he's like, and you DM me, sir. He said that, and you DM me, sir.
So that's what I'm saying. It was an issue for him.
Right.
I don't necessarily, as a man, I wouldn't have found it as an issue. Now, if she said, "Hey, bro," that'd be a different thing. To me, that's a different thing.
To me, it's the same thing. Like,
Okay,
you're still putting me in a position that you're not interested, that you're showing some high level of boundary or respect. But I digress on that. I'm just giving you what he's indicating that he had an issue with.
Gotcha. And you're right. That's what he had an issue with. I don't think it's really an issue, but okay. All right. So then,
Well, why you keep having to indicate?
because I don't think it's an issue. I think he's just trying. All right. Anyway, so she is like, she's done with the conversation.
And he's like, what? You done? Like, well, talking about this right now.
Right.
He was like, okay, you just angry because you want me.
Yeah, that was because he does, like, he's like, let's hug it out. She's like, no, I don't want to hug. He's like, no, if you're done with this conversation, let's hug it out. Let's go in peace, what have you. And yeah, he does make that comment of, she likes me. She really, really likes me. That's why she's mean to me.
Sometimes that can be the case. I've seen people be aggressive when they consider that flirting for them and trying to start something with people.
Yes, okay, I'll leave it at that.
Yeah.
I just think it's very high school or elementary schoolish.
So far, did she show anything above?
That's true. That's true. But Trinika does try, in her mediator role, try to help Justice understand. She's like, some of the ladies are saying that you're shallow. I don't necessarily get that. Katie is like, no, you're not shallow, you're just difficult. So Trinika does try and do a good job of at least trying to help Justice see how other people are seeing him. I still don't think he got it.
I don't think she showed it. I think she just positioned herself like, look, I'm the one for you.
That's true.
That's
true.
my opinion.
Yeah. So then in the other side of the go-kart place, Charisse and Zoe go play pool.
Yeah, she's like, hey, I want to talk to you for a moment. And so they started playing pool. And she was like, so where are me and you? I thought after the white party that I might hear more from you after the white party. And he says, well, I did feel like we had a lot in common. But you didn't give me the vibe you were interested in me.
He said he did not think that she was taking anything serious with him. And if you all remember, go back and watch some of our previous ones. I've been saying that Charisse, I think she's moving kind of funny. I think that she, her primary connection was Devin, and when Devin was gone, she's moving around scrambling. And so I don't know that she is I don't know that she's building a genuine relationship. I think she's just kind of trying to stay around a little longer. That's just my opinion. But that's kind of what Zoe alludes to.
Correct. From his perspective, when they had theirs, because she's talking, to him. We see that at the white party, and I don't know if it's just how she talks, because it's still like she's very hard to figure out and can be very confusing in her conversations, and so based off of him, he's trying to open up. He's trying to be more vulnerable and saying, "Hey, I just don't feel like you were giving me that vibe that you were really interested in me."
Right.
And it's coming across fake.
Yeah.
So
she's pressing him to see if he's feeling her. And she's like, because I have another strong connection. He's like, okay, good for you. I'm glad you do. That's what you should be focusing on. Focus on your strong connection. And she's like, well, who are you connecting with? That's none of your business. If you ain't feeling me, what difference does it make?
Just know we're having a conversation between me and you. And right now, from the way you're coming off, it doesn't seem genuine.
Right.
And that's what he's trying to get across.
And he's like, I've seen a different side of you. And I'm like, I'm over it.
And I think this is the part where it would have been best for him to communicate. Because while we are at the table, you telling some other girl or lady to barbecue me. So what's all that? That would have been
a perfect place.
A perfect segue for him to bring it up so they can communicate. But he doesn't.
Right.
And so
he calls her fake. She's like, what about me is fake? He's like, I've seen the other side of you. You're fake. Then she starts getting a little, elevated. He's like, I think you're salty because I'm calling you out and I'm saying what I'm saying about you. And then she's like, well, let me tell you what's wrong with you. Okay, please do. Tell me what's wrong with me. Good. I'll take the feedback. Then she says he's yelling. He's not yelling.
Not at this point.
At that point, he's not yelling. Now, later on, yes, he does yell.
He does start to get elevated.
But at this point, she's stating that he's yelling. And then she makes other statements later on about him being, aggressive and in her face with a pool cue and da-da-da-da.
Not initially.
Now, you all know we keep it real here. We tell both sides. We call out foulness on both sides. Zoe had a problem with communicating. He could have had a better way to communicate. He did get way too loud, in my opinion, and way too at the end. Absolutely.
Oh, and loud while they were doing it again. Yeah, yes. He did too. He was overdoing it.
Yeah. Right. He was doing too much. On the other hand, also, she was doing too much, in my opinion, as well.
Especially, you don't say that about the race. I'm like, what does that mean? I mean, barbecue him. Now, if you had a problem with what he's doing when you pulled him aside, that would have been a good opportunity for you to talk to him instead of telling someone else to reprimand him, if you want to put it that way.
Yep.
To reprimand him. So you could have been quiet, and then when y'all had your talk, like, what's up with you, though? You seem real hype and everything.
If she was really, truly interested in him, because remember, she was trying to get clarity and see where they were. So that tells us that she did have some supposed interest in him, right? So if that's a person that you have interest in and you see them acting differently, and that's an issue for you, why go to somebody else?
Out loud.
Loud, right? So I give both of them a D.
A D for communication. And now, so then he's yelling. At this point, by the time we get to the end of this conversation, he's pointing at her with a pool stick.
Now, granted, she is like yelling. She is like 15, 20 feet away.
She is.
So it's not like he's got it in her face, pointing like here.
No.
Right?
It's not a weapon.
Right.
But he is pointing it, trying to elevate his point as he's yelling, because now everyone else on different parts of the go-kart facility can hear it.
Yeah.
And so then, they're coming like, we need to break this up.
Yeah, because Katie is like, thank you, Jesus, for rescuing me from this conversation with justice. She goes and tries to see what's going on. LJ comes from wherever he was. I don't know where LJ was. LJ comes to try and defuse, and then he takes Sharice over to the side.
And she's like, what, bro? Like, why are we at this point? Why can't we calm down? Maybe the way you're handling this. I'm having this fine. blah, blah, blah. And you could tell he's still
He's still
agitated.
agitated, yeah. Meanwhile, Sharice is over there crying on LJ's shoulders, but not having any tears coming out of her eyes.
So,
So Kadian does try to help Zoe understand. She's like, I get what you're saying, but we can't belittle anybody. We can't make anybody feel that kind of way. We can't. You gotta maintain who you are.
exactly.
Right?
That's all you have,
right.
is how you handle a situation. You can't handle other people, but you can handle how you act.
Right. So
he leaves.
He leaves. LJ is trying to tell him, look, bro, don't leave on bad terms. Try and at least.
He was like, nope, I'm out.
He's like, nope, I'm done. I'm gone.
I'm not.
Sharice is saying he needs to go home. He needs to be done from the process, what have you. Okay. Then we get to Shakira. She meets with Tommy in the lounge. And she talks about basically how information that was shared in the ladies' lounge has made its way outside. Now, what we saw in the previous episode was Katie mentioning it in front of Mike at the table. But one thing she also said was that other guys have come to her and said, this is what I've heard. So evidently the information, and it could be Katie is the source of it all, or it could just be whomever, right? We don't know.
So far it's pointing to her.
Right now it's pointing to Katie. But Katie and whoever has been sharing the information, not just at that table like Katie did, but that information has been going in other conversations with the guys. So she's like, that's not what I intended. That's not what I thought that this was. I thought that this was a safe space. And Tommy's like, absolutely. That's what this is designed to be. I want you to be real. I want you to be authentic. I want you to, share and open up. But it should not come back to bite you in a place that is outside of where you've shared it at. And that's just adulthood.
If people are mature enough to handle it.
Right.
And sometimes you have to put perimeters around that. We've been in environments where we create transparency, but also we've put perimeters on that. We have to have people to sign waivers and consent, because sometimes people can't handle that. And it's good that she thought she could have shared. And she even said, I think I might have overshared at that point. But I feel like when someone can't keep your information and they feel necessary to share your information, they're trying to hide from whatever their hurt is or whatever is going on in their life. Because they rather talk about somebody else. Because they don't want to get into what's going on with them. And they feel like they can do that to help, relate to someone if they bring someone else's story into it instead of really talking about them.
And it's also a subliminal and subconscious way of trying to make yourself appear better than a competitor, if you will, in this situation. So it's a way to basically be like, yeah, she's cute, but she damaged. She got other issues, so that's why I'm your choice.
So Tommy said, I'm gonna deal with it. You take the evening off.
Don't worry about coming to the ladies' lounge.
I got you. This shouldn't be happening again.
Yeah.
And if it does, Tommy's like, Uncle Tommy's gonna take care of it.
Yep. So then Samson sets up a picnic date with Looney, Mike, and Brandy. Mike and Brandy are in their own world.
They're a couple. And again, it could go good for them or it could go bad. When you pick up on somebody pretty early, it could go either way.
Yeah.
So we'll see how it goes. But I'm hoping during this process, they are actually going deeper.
Yeah.
And he says that he does want to go deeper. So he does ask about her travel.
Right.
And how long she gonna be gone being this flight attendant thing.
He's like, I don't do long distance relationships.
She's like, baby, we live in the same state, in the same city. This is I do come home.
She's like, I go to work. Can I come home?
And she was saying, yes. Now, if you're an international flight attendant, you may be gone for 2 or 3 days because it's an international flight.
Right.
Because it takes you just that long to get there and come back. but she can pick her schedule, as she indicated. She's like, I can be home the same day if I wanted to.
Yep.
So she's pretty much saying, I'm being flexible to what, your schedule is.
Yeah.
So I'm assuming they probably had more conversations that, they couldn't put in the whole episode.
Right.
But hopefully they're getting to a place where they are seeing where they can be, after.
And then on the other side of the park, Samson and Looney are connecting, right?
Yeah, trying to get to know
each other. I don't know. It's hard to tell with them.
I think they just really, because Looney's the one that's coming off of COVID.
True.
So I think this is his first date with her.
True. But, and granted, because we know, like, for example, her relationship with LJ still was intentional even while she was on COVID.
Correct.
So in some respects, Samson and Looney are, like you said, just starting afresh, right?
Yeah, they're just starting afresh.
As far as what we can tell.
Correct.
So we'll see where it goes, if it goes anywhere.
I just think, I felt like it was just, a good first date. They were kind of flirty. Samson is very good about being intentional when he's on his date to be with the person.
True.
And so, he takes his glasses off. He want to look her in the eye. He compliments about something that they have in common, which is working out and how he gets his energy. So I feel like there's people who know how to date.
Right.
And he's a very great first date. And not saying his second or third date wouldn't be great, but he just knows how to connect.
Right.
So it's to see if there's any additional energy behind that, and I think, as he gets to know her.
Right. And I think as we go along, we'll see how second dates go, because right now he's had
a lot of first dates.
Yeah.
And so far he may have a couple connections.
Well, Sharice is probably the strong connection that she was referring to, as far as with Samson. That's probably the strong connection she was referring to, because they did have that date.
And then the other young lady, the one that talked to Tommy.
Shakira. But I don't know that Shakira's going to be around too much longer. So
I know you keep saying it.
Well, I think next week is kind of the end of it, but that's just me. All right. So then LJ goes on a date with Trinika. Now, here's the thing. Trinika does a phenomenal job of flirting.
Oh, you just gonna put it right out there at the beginning.
Because here's the thing. As we're watching, I'm like, okay, she's showing interest. She's showing, she's flirting. And every date that we've seen from her, she does a great job of it.
Well, again, as a woman, that's what a man an initial attraction is to.
True.
And I feel like she's been able to get that part down. So the question is, how's her energy with the right person that she really likes?
True.
Because I would like to see different energies depending on the person. Granted, you want to make sure that person feels special, that you're interested, you're listening, you're being attentive, you're smiling. So she has all the dating tips down.
Right.
The question is, for her, who is she really feeling? Because if the vibe is still the same on everyone's level, everyone feels super special, then who's the true guy?
Right.
And I guess hopefully we'll see that a little bit more, or maybe something will come out in some of the clips where we can see who she's really feeling.
Right. Because she mentioned, I think Randall is probably...
Right.
I ain't going to call it... Yeah. I was about to say something else. I'm not going to call him Ray.
I'm going to call him Ray.
I'm not going to call that Ninja Ray. All right. So, and I said ninja. I didn't say anything else. I said ninja. So Randall is like, but Randall's got a few options too.
Yeah, but this ain't Randall's episode.
No. So we'll see what happens with Trinika and LJ.
We'll see.
She does ask about his daughter, so she's intentional in asking some questions to get to who he is and things that matter to him. Right?
And he shared, he really says that, his daughter got some wrapped around his finger, her finger, and how much he loves his daughter. So I think he felt good about where he was, about opening up and trying to figure out, what's some of the ladies that he's interested in.
Right. Yeah. So then we get to the ladies' lounge, and the ladies are coming in. As they sit down, Tommy's addressing the Shakira issue.
Right.
He's like, "Look, I don't know why I got to make this clear, but what happens in the lounge stays in the lounge. This is not up for discussion about it with all the other participants." Katie ain't sitting over there getting an attitude.
And this is where I was mentioning about how Katie was handling the other dude.
Mm-hmm.
It's the manner how she's talking, how that's all I'm pointing out.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not saying that she wasn't right, but it's just her way of delivery.
Right.
And here again, we're seeing something where instead of saying, "Okay, got you," it's more like, "Well, why is this a problem?"
Yeah, because she says she has in her little like interview or whatever. She says she has mixed feelings that she thinks that whatever you say, you should be ready to own up to.
And I'm like, what is she not
But who
owning up
made you
to?
the own up police to take it to other people to bring to them? It's not that she's not owning up to it. She's bringing out and saying, "This is where I've had some hurts.
In
This
this
is where I've
safe
had some."
space.
So,
And so when whoever she's dating, when she feels comfortable, that should be her choice.
let people tell their own truth.
Let people tell their own truth. And then you just have an attitude behind that.
Right.
And that's what I'm referring to.
Yes, I get you. I get you. So then Tommy's like, "All right, with that settled, because I don't want to talk about this again."
Right.
Even though in the clips for next week, we're going to talk about it again.
We end up talking about it.
But he's like, "Okay, so who are y'all feeling? Who are you not feeling? Recap the dates." Because we saw some dates this week, and the dates from last week are really what they're recapping is between the two dates. So Looney is saying that she needs to peel back the layers with Samson. So she's not counting him out, but she's like, there's more to go. So let's get deeper with him. Kayla recaps her date with Randall.
Ray.
Randall. All right. And so, he's like, were there kisses? Yes, there were kisses. Jamala is like, okay, well, I had a date with Randall too.
I had a date with Ray too.
And Kayla looking salty.
Kayla look like, that's my man. Take your hands off my man.
So, Katie recaps her time with Swayze.
Mm-hmm.
So we're kind of, we saw all of these dates, so nothing groundbreaking there. So then when it's about time of who do I not want to, or who are they not feeling, Katie feels that LJ is scared to talk to her. Like LJ is like, yeah.
Even though she says he follows up every day, talks to her on the phone.
And that may not be that he's afraid to talk to you. It may be he just don't like having conversations with you because maybe your attitude, like we've seen with other things. It's very possible.
It's possible.
And he's trying to at least be cordial and follow up with you or what have you.
Because he's the island boy.
He's the fun-loving, outgoing island boy. But now there are some men, yes, that are afraid to talk to women. Absolutely.
They are.
But there are some times where it may come off that they're afraid to talk to you, and it's just they don't want to talk to you.
It's possible.
So, Jamala, though, says that LJ has stepped up. She's like, he's the MVP of the week because he took the feedback and ran with it and followed up. And Looney is also talking about she enjoys her time with LJ. But then Jamala's like, all right, but now justice. She ain't feeling justice. She says he's not ready. Kayla agrees. She can't do it with justice. In fact, Katie was the one who said in her aside earlier that return to sender as far as justice.
Like, yeah, wherever you got them from, drop them back off there.
All right. But then Looney and Charisse bring up Zoe. And Charisse brings up what happened at the go-karting place. Katie is like,
Hold on before you start throwing him under the bus.
Hold on just a second. Hold up. Wait a minute. All right.
Before you throw him under the bus.
And she's like, this is what he heard. And so he was responding with that as well. And then she makes a statement, and I agree with the statement. She's like, you can't basically instigate and start something and then play the victim afterwards. You can't poke the bear
I agree.
And then be upset when the bear responds like a bear does. Now, again, let's just make it very clear. Zoe was out of pocket.
He was.
He was out of pocket with the way he responded near the end. But she also was out of pocket in some of the things that she did. And even the way she kind of positioned it to, again, in the ladies' lounge, she's like, she basically makes it seem like he just jumped at her from her first conversation.
Just out of nowhere.
And that he was aggressive and in her face with the pool cue. Again, looking at what we're presented from the editing.
Yes, sir.
It didn't go exactly how she's saying. Were there elements that, yes, again, Zoe was wrong. Let me make that clear. So if you want to take any shots, Zoe was wrong. But she also had a part to play in the wrongness of how that whole situation went. Just my thoughts. And I'm a man, but do you agree?
I agree.
Okay.
I believe their conversation, they did not communicate well on both parts.
Yep.
He had an opportunity to address it.
Yeah.
And he decided not to, but internalize it, and then it's come out the way it came out. She did what she did. So the communication was bad. It was awful.
Yeah. So then basically it's like, okay, let the fellas know who's staying and who's going. So Kadian is going to meet Zoe. Trinika meets with Justice. And Trinika's like, hey.
Was that Kadian and me with Zoe? That wasn't Kadian.
Yeah, that was Kadian.
I thought that was Mike's girl that met
Brandy?
Yeah, it was Brandy.
Was it Brandy? I thought it was Kadian.
No, it was Brandy.
Okay, well, somebody meeting with Zoe.
It was Brandy.
Okay, well, Brandy meeting with Zoe.
Yeah.
All right. Anyway, my notes are bad. All right.
It's okay.
It was late. All right, so Trinika and Justice are talking, and she's basically giving him, these are the things that the ladies are saying. These are the ways that you need to improve. You need to have, improve your conversation, what have you.
And she's like, okay.
He's like, I can do that.
And he's like, it's you here. I'm comfortable.
Yeah.
I know I'm not going home.
Right. But then Brandy / Kadian, whoever she was.
I could swear it was Brandy because she was short. She was like, she's in her phone.
A lot of ladies are short.
I'm looking at the detail, and she's like, so he ain't coming? It was 30 minutes in. She had a drink. And then she was like, let me go ahead and order dinner. Since I'm here, I'm going to eat. And she tries to call him and say, hey, did you fall off a bridge? Did you fall off a ship? I'm trying to check in like I care. Can you at least call me back saying you're not going to show up?
So he doesn't show up.
He doesn't show up. Again, I think you should at least show up to get your side on video. That's
to me, because we've had a few of these where in previous seasons also where they don't show up or they walk away, dismiss themselves, what have you. I think that it's in some respects I think it's a cowardly thing. It's a fear of rejection or what have you, or fear of not liking to be told no, whatever it may be. So I would have preferred for him to at least show up, man up, and be there and say, this is why I did what I did. Completely, I am ready. If he's ready to love, he's ready to love.
Right. He can mention that. Or he could say,
and it just wasn't the right time or the right group or what have you.
Or the process.
But yeah.
My understanding, it can be very grueling process. You may be dating someone or told to go on a date that someone you may not really be interested in.
Right.
And then when you're told that you're not really opening up and there's a wall up, it could be a lot of factors.
Right.
But we're not, he didn't allow us to see another side because the camera portrayed him on one side as having a wall up, as not knowing how to communicate his feelings, as this is the way I express myself and I leave situations. I don't know how to, de-escalate conflict. And that's what we're left with.
Yeah, because if we even go back to the story that he told Charisse about his fiance for a day, right? She was the fiance for a day. He gave her the ring, and then according to him, he took it back the next day. Like some of you in the comments put, not sure exactly how that story, if there's fully truth in all of that story as far as him taking back the ring the next day. But it again shows if it's as he's presented, it shows that he does not necessarily deal with conflict in the relationships. Because if I don't want to marry you, I don't want to marry you.
And that needs to become very clear.
Right?
Yeah.
And that would happen well before 6 years into the relationship.
Correct.
So, all right. Well, look, that's it for this one. Make sure you're checking out the reviews of the other shows that we're doing, and make sure you're back here. In fact, even right now, if you have not done it yet, like, share, subscribe, help the algorithm, help us out. We'll see you next time. Have a great one. Be blessed.
Be blessed. Bye.